And hello, everyone. We are live here on the Leverage Masters. I am AndreaAdamsMiller, co-host with Dr. Gina Gaudio Grace, and she is unable to be with us today. So it's just me and our guest, Dr. Darwin Perkins. We have a really interesting show lined up for you today. Interesting in the fact that we are going to be divulging some secret information throughout the show that could totally change your world and help give you a voice in the world when it comes to banking and finance. Because I am part, the big reveal, I am part of a group of people that have they've spent the last 3.5 years devising a new crypto technology for decentralized banking. Oh yeah, you heard me right. Decentralized banking. That's where the people are voting for the people as far as determining how our money is held, hold, spent, divided, and so forth. And part of this crypto technology, this new idea that they've had, that's actually not new to them, but new to the world, starts with a cryptocurrency. But because many of you who maybe aren't familiar with cryptocurrency, aren't sure where this is going, I have a guest on today who knows he knows how to take cryptocurrency and all that world and really speak it in layman's terms. And those of you who are already really high into cryptocurrency and you know what you need to only listen so that I can give you the information on where to go to get more information. Because if you're a mover, a shaker, an innovator, an influencer, an investor, then you already know that this is the world that you need to follow and you need to know about. If you're on the fence and you're not sure, then listen along. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, but you want to be in the know for the future so that you're ahead of the game, then please stay on for the show. Dr. Darwin, would you please share with everyone who you are, your history, how you even came to even know about any of this on your own?
Sure. And thank you for having me on the show today. My history has been that, first of all, I've got a doctorate. My doctorate is a doctorate of business administration. And I got interested in crypto about 5-6 years, well, actually 6 or 7 years ago now, because I got an email that granted me some number of cryptos. And I have since lost that. It turns out the number was about 2,500. And right now, today, Bitcoin is worth $11,974. So quite frankly, if I still had that 2,500 Bitcoin somewhere, I wouldn't be on the show, most likely. But I got interested back then. I started mining. That's a completely...
Thank you for admitting that, because how many of us have made an investment and poo-pooed it, or didn't make an investment and poo-pooed it, and then now you're like, oh, craziness. I mean, absolute craziness. We'll have more crazy stories about that in a minute, so continue.
Yeah, you've got that. And so I did some Bitcoin mining. I've still got a small mining farm that I run, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to know what it is. Don't worry about that. And I also have a blog site that I spend a great deal of time teaching people over 40 what Bitcoin is and why it's an important thing to include in your portfolios. So I think that brings us up to speed.
I am, because Darwin's not in the know. He knows like 1% of the 1% that I know. So I am leaking him information so he knows what we're talking about while I prepare to leak information to all of you. So let's kind of talk about that to begin with. So let's first define what, in very layman's terms, what the cryptocurrency world is even about. What does that mean? What does that encompass for people?
Okay, so it really is a different way of looking at money. There's a gentleman named Satoshi Nakamoto that created a Bitcoin white paper back about 11 years ago. and laid out what a currency should look like that was distributed. So you'll hear this word distributed all the time, but basically what it means is nobody controls it. It is just, it has a set of rules. You know how to buy money, you know how to spend money, you know how to do that kind of stuff. And you control your money. You hold your money. You don't give it to a bank. You don't give it to an investment firm. You don't give it to anybody else. It's your money. You decide where it goes and how it goes. So that's really the essence of it. You can think of it, if you want the really simple term, think of it as a prepaid credit card. Okay, so what you have in here is you take your money, you invest in crypto, and you let it sit until it grows. And that is really the entire process, as far as I'm concerned, of what needs to happen. We're going to talk about DeFi in a minute, and DeFi is simply distributed finance. So rather than going to your local loan officer and being at the mercy of a bank, there's an entire, again, not a company thing that's out there for this distributed finance. So it really is just a bunch of machines. And when you get into the distributed finance, then depending on how many coins you own, you have the ability to vote on what happens. And then Andrea will tell you a little bit more about what does that mean in terms of what she's about to release.
Thank you. So let's break that down a minute. So when someone thinks about their money, so they've invested their money because you're buying the coins. So basically you're investing in the coins. Am I correct in that to start with?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's use $100 because that's easy to describe. So there's a coin that's offered, and the coin is offered on different platforms. In this particular case, this coin will be offered on any platform that takes Ethereum. So is there anything more that we need to say about that that expands that? Is there, I'll ask the question, because I'm new to this industry, I'm going to ask the questions that I don't know
Sure.
and some of the questions that people have asked me.
Okay.
Is there more than one platform that takes Ethereum?
Yes. And so let me just back up just a touch.
Sure.
You see over my shoulder here, there's a Bitcoin. There's no such thing as a physical Bitcoin, by the way. It's just people like pictures, so you need those. So there are two really, okay, I will get arguments from the experts, but there are basically two major coins out there. One is Ethereum and one is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has about 60% of the market and seems to be fairly consistent in that 60% range. Ethereum has about a third of what's left of that market. Ethereum is a cryptocurrency all by itself, but it has a special characteristic that you can create what they call tokens and run them on Ethereum. And so that's what people have done. And in fact, I think that's exactly what's going to happen with this new coin that you're talking about.
That sounds correct. Now, all of you that are listening, let me please let you know, this is an information only open discussion. Now, mind you, okay, let me do this part of the reveal. Why am I leaking this information out? Why am I the one telling you this when it is apparent that I know very little about the entire market in itself? Well, I was originally introduced to this group of people. I actually have fondly joked that I feel like I'm part of a basement Illuminati. And at the same time, I feel like I should pull out the flag from Les Mis, like I'm in some little revolt, because we're revolting against the traditional banking. And when I say basement, I imagine, because half the time when I'm with this group and we're talking, I'm in no makeup, I've just been out of the pool, or I've been working working for 12 hours and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm like this, you know, my hair is all frazzled. I'm trying to understand. I'm hearing what the developers are saying. And obviously I don't speak developer lingo. So I'm trying to read between the lines and my brain is just like absorbing all this information going, well, we don't really know where to store this. So it kind of looks like my brain inside with the information kind of looks like a clean, non-stinky frat house. Like everything just got thrown in there, and the only thing that's missing is the beer cans and the pee. Okay, you know, like it's just crazy in there, and that's because all this information's been dumped in my head, and I'm trying to figure out how to systematize it all so that I understand it. I've been submerged into this organization with over the last 7 days. Well, why? Because I know a lot of people in the world. I'm considered an influencer. So thank you for the people who consider me an influencer. So because I know people, I can reach out to people and tell them about what's happening. Also because I'm in public relations. I'm a publicist. I write copy. I do social media and all of that world. And I do set up joint ventures and work with corporations. And so in that capacity of having outreach, or you know, like this little spiderweb fingers out to so many different people in the world, really they brought me on as a way to help provide information to people who would want to know about this. So the product has a launch date that we're going for. The launch date has not been revealed yet, but it will be very soon. I will say it's in the next 2 weeks, give or take a day or two or 5. So, and I get it. I am being extremely vague and very generalized. That's because we're in the process of building this. Now, while it seems like, oh my gosh, why are these people getting together and creating this crazy frenzy to get this done? It's not that we've not been working on it a very long time. I'm new to it. The decision to pull the trigger and say go, I pulled the trigger like a slot machine. Did you notice? Like pull the arm down. The reason it's on go time now and I'm in for the go time is simply because of the publicity piece. You don't bring necessarily a publicist in 3 years before, when the conception of the idea is mulling in people's heads and while they're mapping it out and looking for the end game of what's going to occur with this. You see, it's not just about a cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is a tool that's being utilized for something way bigger a couple months down the road. And that's towards decentralized banking, which I've kind of already been alluding to, where people get to make the decision on how money's dispersed in the world by the funds that are raised through this initial cryptocurrency coin. Now, mind you, I am speaking out loud on what I've been overhearing. They've given me permission to go ahead and share this information. Although I need to get what's the word? I need a disclaimer that what I'm saying may not be 100% accurate, or it could have been accurate last night at midnight and this morning it's changed as things have been tweaked and merged. But one truth that will always remain is that the funding and that the money that comes from the group of people devising this is going towards building a humanity card network. And that's to be able to give people the power to make decisions regarding money in the world and who has access to it. So in other words, a woman who lives in a village in Nigeria who's looking to do a startup business to feed her family and needs money for if she lives in a village, let's say she needs goats. She has equal opportunity to get this money as somebody in a suit in DC. Equal opportunity. And it'll be the people who vote. Now, how that system will exactly look and how we vote, I don't know yet. We're still developing that because we are still pulling in information to make sure that we're serving the people. So we're still finding out what the people want and what will work. So Darwin, hearing me share that, what are some other things that you can build upon what I'm sharing for people, as we mentioned, DeFi and so forth, and what am I missing? What haven't I shared that
Yeah,
leaves a gap there?
I think there's a couple things that we need to be a little bit more clear on. Generally, when there's an ICO, initial coin offering, especially in the DeFi space, whoever is doing this offering has a tendency to pre-sell. And so they will look for their big investors and they will guarantee them a certain number of coins at a certain price before it ever goes public. One of the things that you mentioned to me is the people who are backing this coin now don't need the money. So they don't need to raise a guaranteed amount of money, and they don't need angel investors or whatever you want to call them. And because of that, they've taken this attitude that we're going to go live with the coin costing whatever the coin is going to cost. It's going to be on the exchanges and it's going to be available, but we're not going to pre-sell it. And so you don't have to worry about getting into it as well. I'm the second level of there's already 10 million coins out there or 100 million coins out there or whatever it is. So I think that's a very important part that they
Yes.
really are trying to be, I can't think of the word. They're trying to create an equality here that I haven't ever seen before.
Yeah, you're very true on that. So the reason that uh, when we say like leaking information, it's basically guiding everyone who wants to be a part of this, who's interested, um, so that they know to be looking out for it to launch. Because one of the things that the people who have initially been behind this have seen is exactly that. Like your VCs and your angel investors get all the capital, the good stuff, and then people feel like there's this unbalance of things, and they want to shy away from that so that everyone has that equal opportunity to come in. At the same time, if nobody knows about it, then the coin itself is not seen. It's just like anything, like if you're an author or if you have a product, if nobody sees the clothes that you have or that you have a store, your clothes aren't going to be bought. And if no one knows that you have a book that's going to be released, then no one's going to buy your book. So they're always pre information to let people know that something good is coming out in the world. And that's really what it's about, is just letting people know that until it's really launched, we can only give you so much information so that your eyes are open and that you're aware of something that's coming up and happening, because that we feel is fair advantage, and we're letting people know that that there's something that's going on. By the way, there is a limited amount of coins. So I do know that the coins are numbered. So like your collector's items here, we've got them numbered. I do have some other information that I can share. So this is a new token, as Darwin said, to the DeFi world, and and its purpose, the company behind it, I can tell you the company behind it is called Opus, OPES Finance, Opus Finance. And it's, I've already mentioned about the fact that its sole purpose is the second move with this humanity, decentralized banking. And so I also want people to understand that the token is called wrapped PE. Darwin, is that a term you're familiar with, wrapped PE?
Yeah, and then basically what it is, it means that you can invest any kind of coin or token, and they will take that and essentially give you an equivalency in their token, and then it's wrapped. And so you have committed that just like you would do normal DeFi staking. You have committed that to that particular coin for as long as you choose to hold it. So it's just an easier way to get some kind of content in, whether it's USD or Tether or Bitcoin or even Ethereum, to be able to wrap it up and easily get it into this system.
Now, I have been told that wrapped PE is free. Is that your understanding as well?
I I'm really not sure. Yes, that is. Let me back up. Yes, that is a true statement. And the question then becomes, what happens to the value of the coin as you move on? Okay,
Okay.
so there's really two pieces to that. But initially, the wrapping is a no cost kind of thing.
Yeah, so that you can bring other assets to your token, um, to be able to initially go into it. And then uh, so uh, I'm also being told that this is a way for us to show other people, give them an inside view. I guess it reminds me of like when you go to Disney World and they have the window and you can watch them, make the make the eggs. Do they have eggs? I don't know why I said eggs. Make the apples, and do the thing. Make the bread. They have the window so you can see what's going on back in there. Like what's happening, and it's a way for people to get a glimpse into the world of finance, so that they have there's a transparency that's never been shown to people before. This will be the first time the world can see the blockchain of Opus. So I just introduced a new word, blockchain. So let's define that. So people, because we already talked about DeFi and Ethereum. So and wrapped PE, let's make sure they understand what blockchain means in the scope of all that definition.
Okay, and for those of you who know blockchain, forgive me, this is going to be really simple. Okay. uh, a blockchain is simply every block is a transaction of some sort. You bought something, you sold something. And those blocks are linked together in a permanent fashion. So every time somebody buys or sells something, that entry, and if you will, it's kind of like a entry in a ledger, okay, or a database entry, either way you want to look at it. That thing gets put in the blockchain in such a way that it can never be touched again. Okay, so nobody can mess with it, nobody can change it, nobody can do anything to it. So it becomes a permanent entry for the entire chain. And so what anybody can do at that point, since these chains are public, is they can go out and they can look at that blockchain and they can say, well, I can see that this address, which has nothing to do with you or your name, holds this many coins, okay? Because they can just scan the entire blockchain all the way to the top and add up how many things this address happens to have. And so it's a very good way to keep track of things. It's secure for the blockchain, or for the Bitcoin blockchain, or for the Ethereum blockchain. The chain itself has never been hacked. Now, if you think about it, over 10 years, never had a hack, that's darn near impossible. So these are very, very secure. But that's what a blockchain is. It's a way to securely identify what has happened to this coin over its entire life.
Fantastic. So I wrote in below my photo here, and I'll read it out loud for those of you who are just listening, the Facebook page, in order to get into find out, so that you can, get that more, the deep dive into what's allowed to be released as it becomes available. Facebook, it's DeFi, Ethereum, crypto community. DeFi, Ethereum, crypto community. So that's what you'll look for. And I just want to remind everyone, you're listening to Leverage Masters. I'm your host, Andrea Adams Miller, and my beautiful co-host, Dr. Gina Gaudio Grace. She's the CEO and founder of Divisio, and she's also a specialist in JVs. She is unable to be with us today, and I am the CEO and founder of the Red Carpet Connection, international publicist and business consultant, and now a partner with Opus Finance. And that is another reveal. Originally, when I was brought on, I thought, like any other job, I was a paid employee or something. And I was informed that my title is upgraded to partner. So I am very pleased to be a partner of Opus Finance. This is a very prestigious group. Actually, chokes me up, tears me up a little bit to have been bestowed upon this honor, because when we talked about it, and when they decided to bring me on, they were extremely complimentary. They said, Andrea, you're a mover, a shaker. You make things happen. You give first, and you think of everyone else first. And your respect and love for humanity is so great that we knew that you would be perfect for this. And part of my love and humanity comes from being the executive director of the Keep Smiling movement. So the Keep Smiling movement, co-founded by Ken Rashawn, and Barry Shore is our other co-founder. It's a movement about spreading a dose of hope. That's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins to give love all over the world. And my role as executive director is to make sure that we honor our 501(c) to really look at dental and mental health all over the world and give people the ability to smile, which changes their mindset and their physiology to help them overcome all kinds of things in the world. And right now, on a regular basis, I'm having people call Darwin who are breaking down, the people who are feeling such despair. Their relationships are breaking down, financially, they're breaking down. And there's fear, anxiety, hopelessness, distress and depression. Last year in 2019, I believe the statistics were 900,000 people were diagnosed with depression. And then during COVID, the statistics I saw in February that it was, or well, actually, I think it was March that I read them, were already up 45%. I haven't bothered to look at the statistics because I'm too busy answering the phone from people who are asking me to help them find their smile again and get their mindset straight so that they have an opportunity to move forward in their business and reinvent themselves. Darwin, what have you seen from your point of view in the business that you're in with consulting, with helping people through all of this?
Yeah, I consult with all sizes of businesses, from the 2 or 3 people up through the Fortune 500. And what I'm seeing really across the board is that people are losing hope. There doesn't seem to be an end to this.
Yeah.
Anybody can put up with anything for some amount of time if they know there's going to be an end. The problem that we're seeing now is, as soon as we think maybe it's over, it starts again. And so we never can get that, let's get back, let's go back to work, let's be in a group. I deal a lot with IT people. Now, IT people are renowned for being less social than other people. I think that's a nice way to put it. And and even those people who I talk to say, I wish I could go back to work. I miss being with people, and those are people who don't ever, and so if that's the case with them, I can imagine how people who really want to be involved in other people's lives and know what's going on and, take an active part in the company, they're having a terrible time.
Yeah. And this is one way that we know that we can give back, is to give people hope and give them something to believe in and to help them. I spoke to some people from Australia who were talking about the rioting there, and we're having the rioting here for multiple reasons of civil unrest, and then the cost of destruction that's happening, because people are, I don't know. I just don't think they have anything to do with all this pent up frustration and anger and their voices not being heard. And while we can't solve everything, we certainly can come up with a plan to help solve, um, or at least overcome a facet of what's happening in the world if we could give people access to money. I mean, imagine that you're a person who can't get access to money based on past experience with a really bad credit rating. Your FICO, is it FICO? FICO score is not, I almost said FICO score, but sometimes it feels like crap. So that maybe that's why it was, it feels like a feces score rather than a FICO score. And if you, let's say that's happened to someone, even if they're on their feet now, it's based on the past, and so they can't get it cleared enough, and they can't get that hand up that they need to be able to help them get over that, so that they can have this opportunity to help other people, provide jobs, feed people, help with medical care, help with mental health, all the things that are out there that they could do good in the world, with all these amazing ideas.
Let me tell a quick story. Several
Please.
years ago, I had a business that required me to go to Mexico quite a bit, and it was called Ironwood Carvings, and I sold small little carved statuettes, so bears and lions and that kind of thing. To
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
uh, but I sold those to the National Park Service, and so all of their gift shops would buy these. The thing, I knew it, but I didn't know it. The thing that it was really interesting about Mexico, especially, is that everybody was on their own. There is no welfare net there. There's no safety net. I saw one guy go into the store and buy a 40 pack of tortillas. And then he went outside the store, opened it up, and offered single tortillas to people. That's how he made his money.
Hmm.
And so he became an entrepreneur through necessity, maybe rather than choice. And I think what we're seeing here, especially with this new coin, is that people would like to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people who are out of a job now are saying, how can I make money? How can I support my family? If you go on welfare, there's an end, a limit, an amount that you can't go over, simply because, if the government's feeding you, the government gives you whatever the government gives you and you're done. And
Right.
there's a lot of build up desire for everybody to be able to essentially be their own boss.
Yeah.
And something like this coin with the additional charity side of it, oh, that's perfect. And you don't have to think of Africa. You can think of Seattle, or Portland. Lots of people who are in the same kind of situation gonna want
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I wanted to, at the beginning, we said that we'd give you some more examples about people who didn't get into things early on, or things that were missed that we never realized. Like people say, oh, if I only would have had 2 shares of AOL, my life would be different. And this, what's happening here reminds me of a LinkedIn in a sense. I think it was in 2013. I got a letter from LinkedIn, congratulating me for being one of the top 1% of most connected people in the world. And that's because I had organically reached a level of 30,000 connections, and I think at the time had like 33,000 followers. And again, that always makes me laugh because, like, on Facebook, I'm only allowed to have 5,000 friends, and on LinkedIn, I'm only allowed to have 30,000 friends that I can talk to. I can have followers, but I can't be friends with people. And you, like I, Darwin, we both travel all over the world. We know thousands of people by name, by sight, you know. And I tell you what, it's. I wondered if I'd ever get to a point where I wouldn't remember people because that hadn't happened. But over the last year, I am finding that people will remember me very distinctly, remember the conversation and remember the full thing. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I, you know, is it because I hit my head a couple years ago that I don't remember that anymore? Or have I really gotten to the point that I know so many people that to be able to draw and pick them up on each one has kind of overcapped that ability to remember them all. And I make a conscious effort to remember everyone, and names have always been really important to me. Remember that, but that is, you do get to a level when you're traveling all over the world and you're meeting so many people that, and once they refresh your memory, often you can remember and so forth and remember them. But what a beautiful gift that we have when we have that world travel and all these wonderful connections. And here I can travel in more worlds here than I can when I'm physically flying, although I do prefer the end face method. I do miss traveling to all those countries. I do love that I can reach so many people here, but it gives us a gift now to use this technology, because what are we doing? We're using technology in order to reach people all over the world to create this humanitarian outlook, this humanitarian um, goal that we have in front of us that we're looking to achieve so that we can make this happen. And when I reference LinkedIn, I laugh about that because if I would have known at the time, like for every person I met, if I could have bought a token for, a company like that, to know that what the company would be worth now or be valued at, again, would I be here or not be here? You know what? I probably would be, Darwin. Some of the people that founded this group, they don't have to be here. They don't have to work 12 hours a day. They don't have to be on with the developers at 2:30 in the morning, their time, but they are. And that's what's really cool is the people that have been backing this are people who have come into money or have money. I haven't asked their personal stories. I don't know all of them, but they want to give back to people. They want people to have choice. They really care about humanity. And it's a beautiful thing because they're investing their own money as a gift to other people. Futuristically, too, the way that this technology in the future will look is that it would be handed over the people to vote on who the staff is, who's managing it, who are the founders, the players, the people who mold and manipulate and I mean those in positive, loving ways, because you remember, you manipulate the keys on a piano to make music. So that when I use that word, I mean that in the brightest, most positive way to support how it goes. And then what we're doing, Opus Finance, is giving the resource and the support to launch the project, and all we have to do is stake it through so that it can happen, so that it can be, and that can happen. So keep that in mind as you're listening to this, that this is an information piece to let you know that although this, now some of you, those of you who are in this, actually, if maybe you just came on, you're like, yeah, I got this, done it, I'm already in, tell me where to go, I'm already on DeFi, Ethereum, crypto community, or I'm going to put my email address on here. Oh, I've already reached out to Andrea so that I can get that information right away, because they want to be on, the list of in the know, because those are your movers and shakers, your risk takers, the people who are like, I'm in. Interestingly enough, I'm one of those people as well. Somebody was teasing me the other day because they're like, Andrea, there's two businesses, well, and this is the third one that I've jumped into. Now, this one was just my time and my resources, but there's been other ones I've jumped in monetarily, and I didn't even know what I was giving the money for. I actually sent the money, and then I called them and said, okay, I was told by one of my business partners that I'm supposed to invest, so it's done. So what did I just do?
Yeah, like
What
you.
am I in now?
Yeah. Well, and the way you describe this to me, there really are two sides to this. One is the go buy the token, make money. And since it's a DeFi, you'll probably get some form of interest during the year and that kind of thing. That's
Oh,
great.
disclaimer. We're not promising, we're not
Yeah.
guaranteeing. We're just saying if you look at the current trend, like last year, there were 17 million new crypto traders. And if you look at the cryptocurrency current trends of what the money's doing and how the money's evolving, often the coins are worth what, like 0.00009? I mean, not even a hundredth of a penny. And I mean, think about that. I was talking to somebody today. I said, if let's say you invest $100 and it is a penny, and then let's say over 2 to 3 days it goes up to 25 cents, you made $2,500.
Yeah,
Let's
that's a
say
bunch
it
of money.
doesn't.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had 100 and you got 100.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
thank you.
And what I was going to say though is that there's 100, 1,000 DeFi coins out there right now. And so one of the things is, obviously I want everybody to do their homework on any kind of DeFi that they want to get into and really understand what it is that they're getting into. Some of these will pump and dump and you will never see your money again. And some of them
Reality.
will take off like a rocket and never look back.
Oh my
So,
gosh, there's one right now, Darwin, that I don't know how much it was initially. Some friends of mine
right.
went in and it was like 183 and it went up to 29,000. Okay, by the
Yep.
way, I'm just sharing that because that was like amazingly awesome. That's not your typical and that's not your average. It was just really, really cool. And
Yep.
by the way, I'm not selling anything. So if you're thinking like, oh, do I got to be, there's no affiliate program here. I'm not getting anything by sharing this information with you, because for me, the only thing that happens is either I invest in it or don't invest in it, and it goes up and I went with it, or I didn't and I didn't. So,
Yep.
I'm in the same boat as all of you, except for I know this much more information. And you can tell, I mean, you can tell this is so candid, like Andrea's total, like almost in the dark as much as you. I mean, I'm
Very
telling you,
well.
you
And
know.
the thing, I'm not going to say I'm sold, but from what I understand at this point, this concept of a give back, and a lot of people want to know how can they give back without essentially getting defrauded by a charity. There's a lot of people that say they're a charity out there that no, the money never goes anywhere, or only 10% of it goes somewhere, or that kind of thing. So the concept that you're explaining here is that you're going to create these humanitarian cards, and they're going to be effectively a, a another prepaid debit card, if you want to look at it that way. In fact, I think they're trying to get MasterCard, Visa, whoever, to set those up so that they'll be available to be used anywhere in the world.
Yeah, if you guys know companies that want to come in and want to pitch, want to play, bring them on, have them connect with me. I'll introduce them and we'll see what they've got. But they got to be about heart and soul. And we also are willing to talk to companies because corporations, they want to be able to be socially responsible and give back, but they also realize that they don't may not have it with their bottom dollar right now because corporations are affected as well. But if they had this much that they were going to give and they're able to invest it and make this much, now they can give this much and
Exactly.
really give back. Hmm.
And so you're talking about the DeFi token on that side. Invest a little bit, maybe, make more than you could have possibly ever invested because of that. But on that other side, you've got that prepaid debit card, basically your card for humanity. And anybody in the world can apply for that card, get some kind of, I'm not going to call it a grant, but a loan at, you said, zero interest. Is that right?
We're talking about that. We haven't made the final decisions, but that's one of the things that we were saying that we'd love to be able to offer so
Yeah.
that people
See,
aren't
that would be,
additionally strapped.
yeah, and that would be one of those. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of all the microloans and that kind of thing. Give somebody in Africa $100 so they can start their own business. This really does level that playing field, like you were saying. Maybe it's not $100. Maybe they need 1,000, but they
Maybe.
make their case. Somebody, they set up some kind of voting system, so they authorize basically that that money is given to those people, and then they can pay it back as they can afford to pay it back, which kind of takes that burden off of them that the longer they wait, the more they owe, kind of thing. I'm just totally excited about this entire process, and I really want to see how it fleshes out.
Yeah, it's very fun and exciting. There is something else I can reveal. Opus Finance, the people who created Opus Finance, are people that have had success in developing technology or having a hand in the development of technology and the monetization of multiple different things that we're very familiar with in the world. So if you've ever heard of Google, Amazon, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, Farmville, monetization of Farmville and Fortnite. The people had their hands in that, and they've been successful at what they've helped create in the past. And this is their way of creating something successful in the future starting now that is for the people. I mean, really, our motto is enough is enough. I mean, we're seeing the unrest and the. I heard of people freaking out in Australia because they feel like their houses are being foreclosed on. I'm hearing some rumors. I just was at the bank today and heard some stuff. Overheard some things from an attorney yesterday with people, the banks closing in and like, oh, too bad, you're late, we're taking it, and people are in fear, and if we have an opportunity to help ease their fear and give them some hope, that's what we're going for. So I really appreciate your excitement about it. It makes me excited about it. Again, for those of you who are wanting more information, you can reach out to me. I'm AndreaAdamsMiller at the Red Carpet Connection. If you're just curious to know more about Darwin's theory and to know more about what Darwin does and how he is so versatile in this world and speaking about it. In fact, he was just on the cover, is it Intrapreneur magazine?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so very handsome picture on the front cover. And the reason I know he's on the front cover is I have an article in the magazine. So I was like, well, look who's on the cover of my magazine. I'm so excited. And Darwin, will you share your website so people can reach out to you if they'd like more information on who you are and what you do?
I'd love to. Thank you. It's very simple. It's darwinstheory.org. So,
There you go.
yeah, and
Very good.
no apostrophe, obviously. So just run it all
Right.
together.
Yeah, darwinstheory.org. And then for any of you who are looking to have more interviews to discuss this, want to hear more secret every day, actually, I could venture, I would not be exaggerating if I said about every 2 hours, I'm finding out this much more I'm allowed to eke out. So, so if you'd like to know more, you'd like me to to come on your program and talk about it, to share. You want to write an article or a blog on your cryptocurrency magazine, your Chamber of Commerce, your cryptocurrency. It doesn't even have to be cryptocurrency. Just people who are out there for humanity, people who want to provide information for people, for positive, exciting news in the world. Please reach out to me so that either I, as a representative, can come on, and maybe one of our other partners can come along and share their expertise as well. As I said, we've got major developers and website people, and we've got promoters. Actually, it's fun. We've employed into the partnership people who are club promoters, because they're out of work right now. And what are they good at? Promoting things, getting the word out. And it's not even about promoting, it's about getting the word out so that people know that there's something coming, so that they are aware of being educated, so that they can make their own decisions about whether to move forward, and when they're going to move forward, and how much they're going to move forward. So any parting words, Dr. Darwin?
I just a reminder, this isn't a greed thing. Share this with everybody you know. You never can tell who you can really help on this side. So make sure that as many people that you know about it and have access to it. And this is going to be cool, I'm pretty sure. So
It's beautiful.
definitely follow up on it.
Thank you so much. And I am going to reference that. A friend of mine within the partnership, he and I talked, and while we were talking, he reached out to someone as a connection for me, and he said to them, "Hey, I've been so appreciative of the work that you've done for me. Would you please set up an Ethereum account?" And the person was like, "Oh, okay, I'll research that and set it up." He goes, "Yes, because I want to be able to give back to you. And so this is a way, maybe I can throw in a couple coins for you." So think about that. If you only gave somebody a couple coins and they were ended up worth a couple $100 a piece, what a gift. What if they ended up a couple thousand or more? It's kind of like giving them a lotto card, it's kind of like gambling, and the casinos are closed. So if you were going to do it anyways, you might as well do it towards humanity.
Yeah, well, and I tell people, it's the pizza thing. If you're going to invest something, decide what it is you're going to invest in, and then spend as much as you would have spent on a pizza this week and forgo the pizza.
There you go. I love that advice. Well, with that, let's go have a slice with double mushrooms and sausage for me. And thank you all for listening. Again, check out DeFi Ethereum crypto community, and our website Opus Finance will be up here soon, and that's OPES Finance. I believe it's .com. I'm not sure. It might be just opus.finance. I think it's opus.finance. See, I'm leaking out information I'm not even 100% confident about. So jump on the Facebook page, join us as we let you know more in the future. And I'm so excited to hear what you guys think, what questions you have. If you have questions, throw them at me at my email, and I'll be happy to answer them as I'm allowed. So thank you again, Dr. Darwin. Appreciate you. Love bunches. And you've been listening to the Leverage Masters here on Blog Talk Radio. I'm Andrea Adams Miller, international publicist and partner in public relations with Opus Finance. And the Red Carpet Connection is my business, and Dr. Gina Gaudio Grace, and she is the CEO and founder of Duvisio, and she's the queen of joint ventureship. So thank you so much. Don't forget darwinstheory.org as well. And with that, bright blessings. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.